Today we've got a special treat for our listeners. We're taking two of the biggest names in digital pianos, Kawai and Yamaha, and we're going to put them to a blind test. We're going to be testing these based on the action, the acoustic piano sound, the e-piano sound, as well as its dynamic range and response. And we'd love you to comment below. Let us know what you think of these four instruments well before any of us know which models and which brands we're actually listening to. So we're on our way to the studio, and Lee and the team have pulled, I guess, 4 digital pianos. I don't know what they are. All I know is that it's going to be some combination of Yamaha and Kawai. And this all comes from the fact that so many people out there really don't think that there's a particularly big difference between these two brands. It's kind of like people see with their eyes. I beg to differ. I think I'm going to be able to probably pull out quite a few differences, but we're going to see. So it's going to be a blindfolded test. We're going to be rating acoustic piano tone, e-piano tone, action, and I think overall dynamic feel. But we'll see how it goes. So in terms of the dynamic response, like there's good volume range in terms of the response, but there's not a lot of tonal variety. So like the sound that it's making in very low volume is kind of essentially the same character as at the top. It's just a very, very clean sound. Anyway, but there's good volume range. It's definitely on the brighter side. Key bed feels a little on the shallow side, but the weight is kind of right down the middle. So if I was to score the tone on this, I would gonna give that, say, a 7 out of 10 tone-wise. In terms of dynamic range, probably give that more like a, let's say, a 6. In terms of the feel of the action, I'd say that's probably more like a 7 as well. I guess Lee's gonna switch over to e-piano now, and we'll see what that experience is like. So it's kind of got a chorus effect on like a Rhodes sound. It's not the most detailed sound in terms of kind of some of the grit and the character that you get maybe in a higher end machine. So this is, I'm thinking whatever I'm on is probably on the more basic side. I do like that there's some bite on there. I'd probably give that more like a 6.5. Put your scores in for both the acoustic piano and e-piano in terms of a score out of 10. And I guess Lee's gonna lead me to piano number 2. So the dynamic range seems actually pretty similar to whatever the first piano was, but the action feels quite a bit different, and the tone, particularly in the bottom and the top ranges, there's quite a bit more character to the sound, like you're hearing more enharmonic information on the treble. The biggest tone difference I'm hearing in the middle, it's just a rounder tone. It's not quite as bright, but that action for sure is deeper. It's got a more pronounced return, like it feels crisper in terms of how quickly it's returning and a little bit deeper. So acoustic piano score, it's not miles away from the first one in terms of quality, but there is more information there. So I'm gonna go maybe like a 7.5, 8 out of 10 on the piano tone. Action-wise, it just feels a little more reactive. So I guess that would be a 7 on the action. And then the dynamic response, I would score that one kind of the same as the first one. So less bite than the first one, but I like the patch better. And the mating of that patch to the action makes this a really nice Rhodes playing experience. The quality of the patch, the tone itself, I'm going to give probably like, let's say 7 out of 10. Just like the first one on the piano's tone and the E-piano. Leave your comments below. Let us know what you thought of piano number 2. That's interesting because the tonal variety sounds actually pretty good, but the dynamic range is more on the narrow side. So dynamically, it sounds a little closer to like the second piano. The quality of the tone or the nature of the tone sounded more like the first one, but the variety sounded more like the second one. And from an action standpoint, this is definitely a different action than either the first or the second one. This is like a totally different feel. Slightly greater sense of depth on the key bed, but not as much as number 2. So kind of a halfway between action number 1 and action number 2. Well, at least through the headphones, I'm going to give this a 7. Dynamic range, I'm going to go 7 as well. And action, I'm going to go like 6.5. So we're going to switch to E-piano and get some tastes on that one. Okay, so I got the chorus on there, kind of like piano number 1, but a really nice, rich sound. I like how this action mates to it. It's probably the most Rhodes-like of the 3 so far. I think the tone on the second one was a little more full, but this still has some really nice character to it and a nice dynamic response. So I'm going to give the tone on this one a 7. Okay, so Lee is going to get piano number 4 in here. Again, please leave comments below. Let us know what you thought of piano number 3, and we'll be right back. So this had the widest dynamic range on the piano sound of any of the 4 that I've tried. It's the closest to the second piano in terms of, I guess, kind of the type of sound or the nature of the sound. A little brighter than the second one, I think. From an action standpoint, not quite as crisp or as deep as the second one. Feels very similar to the first one. I'm not sure if it's the same or not. Acoustic piano store, I'm going to give that an 8. In terms of dynamic range, I'm going to give that a 7. And from an action standpoint, I don't want to split hairs, but I'm going to go like 6.5. Lee, get this switched over to E-piano so I can listen to that. That's the most detailed Rhodes sound of the 4 of them for sure. It's definitely got the most dynamic tone going on. Yeah, I'm gonna give 8s all around on that one for the Rhodes. So let's get your comments on the piano tone and the Rhodes experience below, and moving on. So thank you so much for checking out today's video. Please be sure to check out next video when we're going to be revealing which brands and instruments we were actually listening to. So in the meantime, be sure that you've left your scorecards in the comments, and now let's check out once again my scores for the 4 instruments we listened to today.